How many more times will you fall victim to their lies? Let me show you how to steer clear from what's going to cause you to stumble, what's cause you to trip up. On today's episode, listen, it is what the late great Maya Angelou told you. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. How many more chances do you need to give them? How many more times do you have to allow them to cry and lie and deny and all of these things when you need to be focused on the patterns? And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about patterns. Really want to talk about that. I want to talk about patterns and promises. How to read between, here it is, the lies. How to read between, not the lines, but how to read between the lies. One of the things that we have to really be focused on is not necessarily people, because what we can really be swayed by with people is how they look, how they dress, how they smell, their popularity or lack thereof, versus analyzing the patterns. What is it to what they say? Do they come through on what it is that they promise you to do? Do they say one thing and do another? Do they tell you one particular thing and then now they always have excuses because they never move into they never move into a place of execution. They've always got excuses. They've always got explanations about why it is that they didn't do what they did. They always have a reason as to who moved them this way and what this happened, how this happened that particular way. They never take accountability. And here's what I understand. For so many people, accountability is chasing them, but they're so much faster. And they're so much faster because they are slow to look within themselves. They're slow to actually analyze who it is that they are. They're slow to look within and do the self-analysis. And they don't do self-analysis because they're always in a place of self-absorption. That lack of self-analysis moves to a place of self-absorption. And now the self-absorption becomes self-sabotage. They're always in a way to where they're hindering themselves. They're stopping their own progress. They're stymieing themselves by remaining stagnant and never ascending to a greater dimension, into a greater realm. There is no exponential increase in their life. They've never taken the quantum leap of transformation. Those type of individuals you got to steer clear from. Those type of individuals you got to stop communicating with, and you have to stop hanging around, because those are the type of people that are bringing you down. You got to read between the lies. Come on, there's more excuses than execution. What's taking you so long to read between the lies? They say one thing and they do another. What's taking you so long to read between the lies? They said they're going to be with you. They say they're going to support you. But here's what they do. They talk behind your back. And you know when you have the right type of people in your life, they become a circle of supporters versus a cage of haters. You got to do some self-analysis. You got to do some inventory. You got to check your circle, check your surroundings. Do you have people in your quote unquote circle who are a cage? Do you differentiate? Do you have discernment to detect between a cage and a circle? Because everybody who is around you is not with you. Everybody who says that they support you does not necessarily support you. How do I know the difference? How can I read between the lies? I'm so glad that you asked. You read between the lies by being a fruit inspector. What do I mean by that? You have to watch how people act. You have to watch how people treat other people. You have to watch how people communicate. How do they communicate about you when you're in the room? How do they communicate about other people when they're in the room? Because I guarantee you, if they're communicating bad about people, when you get up from the table, when you leave your seat and move from the table, I guarantee that you're going to be the topic of discussion. You have to read between the lies by checking the fruit. Scripture says this: you'll know a tree by the fruit that it bears. Check the fruit. The fruit is indicative of the root. What's the fruit of people's actions? Is the fruit rotten? I don't know about you, but whenever I go grocery shopping and I'm in the produce section, I try to do more shopping on the produce section than in the middle aisles. The produce section generally is on the outside. Try to do 90+% of my shopping in the produce section, right? The produce helps you to produce. It keeps your energy there. And so whenever I'm buying fruit, grapes or whatever the case may be, I don't get the fruit from the front. I reach the back to get the fruit. Because generally the fruit towards the front is always clustered up and is molded. It's always interesting. The people always want to be out front. People always want to be clicked up. Generally, that little cluster of people is always crowded with mold. Isn't it interesting? It's always crowded with chaos. It's always crowded with dog eat dog, stepping on each other, backbiting, pulling each other down, crabs in a barrel mentality. No, I'm reaching for the fruit that's in the back. Just because you've been in the back, just because you've been hidden, doesn't mean that God doesn't have his hand on you. Just because you've been hidden doesn't mean that your life is a lie. It's really the fact that you've been hidden for the right hands. You've been hidden for the right heart. Everybody doesn't need to have their hands on you when God has his hand on you. Everybody, hear me, who has a heart does not have a heart. Got to check the patterns. You got to check the problems. You got to check the patterns, and the right patterns are going to align with the right promises. The right promises are going to align with the right patterns. People are not going to be making false promises. People are not going to be preemptive in their particular actions. People are going to be premeditated in how it is that they respond to you, because they don't want to move into a place of impulsivity. They want to live out a life of connectivity. You have to allow the process to work. Take time to watch people. And here's what I understand about relationships. Relationships are like an airplane. Too much baggage is going to cost you. You've got to take the time to go through the seasons with people, because just as the seasons change, people change. How do people handle grief? How do people handle hardship? How do people handle losing a loved one? How do people handle being in between jobs? What is their disposition? What is their action? What is their level of expectation? I heard somebody say one time that they said they're not expecting the best anymore. They're only expecting the worst, because if they can expect the worst before the worst happens, they're not let down as much. What type, listen to that type of mentality. It's a painful mentality to have to live with. It's a lot of trauma to have to grapple with. And that's a lot of grief that someone's been holding on to and harboring in their heart. But in many cases, we are just like that particular statement expresses itself. Many times we live just that way as well. Rather than expecting the best, we're expecting the worst. And then when the worst happens, we just say to ourselves, well, see, I knew it was going to happen. But here's what I understand. Your words create your world. What you speak into the atmosphere will appear. Your future, your funeral is on the tip of your tongue. Death and life is in the power of the tongue. Stop expecting the worst, because the worst will happen, and start expecting the best and the blessed, and watch that happen for you. You are snared by the words of your mouth. You've got to transform your thinking so that you can target the lie, nullify the lie, and now live in the truth. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Do you know the truth about who it is that you are? When you know the truth about who it is that you are, you don't allow low down, lying people to live in your life and to live in your head, to live rent free in your mindset. Now you move from that particular aspect because now you become a magnet for the right one because you're a magnet for the right one. And guess who you're the right one for? Yourself first. Before you have a magnet for the right one on the exterior, you got to be a magnet for the right one on the interior. That speaks to dealing with the patterns of what it is that you've been through. Looking at the patterns. Why are you continually attracting this into your life? Why are you continually dealing with the same old person with a different face in a different space and place? While here it is, you remain in the same place. You have to look at those patterns. You have to put those patterns under the microscope. You have to examine those patterns. Let a man examine himself. The examination is for transformation. The examination is to move out of a place of stagnation so that you can read between the lines and that you could also read between the lies. Know the truth about you. Discover the greatness that's on the inside of you. Deal with the patterns. And when you deal with the patterns, those type of negative people will never be able to live in your life or take up space in the place that they don't even belong. It's time for you to get to a new place. It's time for you to soar into a new space, and that is in my Eagles community. I want you to join the most transformative online community that is going to empower you to take the quantum leap of transformation. Go right now to theeaglesacademy.com. I'm coaching, I'm teaching, I'm training, I'm mentoring you in a community space where strategic ideas live, where information, not just information, but application, strategy, structure, solutions, and systems so that you can shift your mindset to another level. Don't you want to experience the place to where you have clarity? Come on, this is the place where you get the clarity. This is the place where you get the transformation. This is the place where your ideas become income, your contacts become contracts, where you're able to increase your ideas, your impact, and your influence. And it takes place in my Eagles community. I want you to go right now. I want you to go right now to theeaglesacademy.com. When you get there, tap the Join Now button, fill out the form. I guarantee you're going to be transformed. Theeaglesacademy.com. When you get there, tap the Enroll Now button, fill out the form. Guarantee you're going to be transformed. I know you're transformed by this conversation. Drop a love donation on Cash App, $Dr. Eddie Ministries, on PayPal, info@EddieConnor.com, and then even on Zelle, EddieConnorJr @gmail.com. Hit that thumbs up button on this video. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. I've been growing your greatness. Help me to grow our channel for change that creates change, that breaks chains. Let me know what you thought about the show in the comments below. Let me know what you thought about the show in the comments below. On your mark, get set, go. Yes. You know, I got to go. But I want you to know, it's yours truly, Dr. Eddie, your main man, 100 grand, your brother. And I mean that from another mother. Family has been fun, but you know, brother, got to run. So I want you to know it's been a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure. But I want you to remember to keep the faith and believe it's going to be bigger, better, brighter, peace, and a whole lot of love. Keep soaring higher.